All right, Nathan, it's an exciting day. What are we doing today?
We are back on the Cortina.
We are finally back on the Cortina. It is finally back here. The HG restoing, gone.
We are back to what we love, and that is socks. Socks and performance upgrades.
Yes, and lots of performance upgrades. And boy, do we have a list to run you through.
Yes, this car's been gone for a long time. We brought it on the channel, pulled the engine out, put the new engine in, and then it disappeared for a long time to get a lot of the fiddly things sorted. But it is now back and ready to go. We're not going to get stuck into it this episode. We're going to talk about the plan, because this car is a lot more serious than the Fairlane. The Fairlane was just like, we need to mount that there. Drill a hole, nutsert, boom, mounted. Yeah. This car is going to be built a lot more strategically and thought out, because this is going to be built once and built once. That's it. It's going to be built once.
It's not like the Fairlane where it was
not the Fairlane where it's going to be
seeing
3.0 for what are we at now?
I think we're at like 3.5.
3.5, but it's ready for almost 4.0. Yeah. Right? So this car, we just want to build it once and build it right. So we're going to really take our time with this car and plan everything. So today we're going to just give you the rundown of everything. We've stockpiled up parts. We still need more. You know, it's relentless. We still need more, but we've stockpiled a lot of parts that we're going to run you through what we're doing and just talk about the plan today and then where we go from here.
Alright, so we'll talk about what has changed in the car since it left, because Tin Man has done a lot of work, like we said, behind the scenes of this thing, stuff that we weren't going to do because it just takes too much time. Remember that Gemini that we started a year ago? We're still doing that, and it didn't have as much work as this had. Actually, maybe it has. I haven't finished the rust yet. We'll start with elephant in the room, the most obvious thing. The bonnet has changed colour. Les had the original bonnet for this thing, and I'm pretty sure he has another bonnet, which is colour-coded.
Yes. So we have another bonnet. We just got a straight swap for a bonnet with no cowl, and we thought, well, we have two bonnets, so why not get the cowl bonnet?
Yeah, so someone wanted an original bonnet, we gave them that, and then we've got this cowl version. So it's a fiberglass molded cowl into a steel bonnet, so it actually is a pretty good job. It is massive.
But for a straight swap, it's a pretty good bonnet, and if it means it's gonna get heat out of the engine bay, it means it's going to get heat out of the engine bay.
Yeah, so we've got it for now. We're going to see how it goes. It's obviously not to everybody's taste, we can imagine, but we'll see how it goes. Because stuff for like drag challenge and stuff like this is going to be a massive saver for heat. Because as we all know, with drag challenge, heat and engine bay temps, they're the biggest killers of cars on drag challenge. So we're going to have this as basically a spare. We can run two bonnets, like Mackie does, except he got rid of his big bonnet because he's too scared to drive on the street.
Oh, the Mount Panorama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. Everything else around the outside of the vehicle, not much has changed because it had no rust in it, did it?
No, it's got no rust in it.
There was no rust in it, so the outside has been fine, but there has been a lot of work done in here. If I can find. There it is. Okay, so under the bonnet, that's where a lot of the stuff has changed. So we still have our engine in it. You remember when we left this thing, we installed the engine. Since then, we've had a few things that have arrived, a few things that have been made. One of those things is the Skid Factory top half manifold, which you can get through Tiperformance. We use this in the Fairlane, had a lot of success with it. This is even the newer version than what we had on the Fairlane, so it comes with a few extra bung holes and stuff for vacuum and
why do we run this manifold?
Pressure. Why do we run this manifold? Because it works, it's good, and it sends the intake out that way rather than over the top like a standard manifold runs. It's also way cheaper than a Plasma Man or anything like that. Like the Plasma Man would be cool, but budget friendly. This definitely works. And like we said, we've had a lot of success with this. Fairlane runs it and it makes all the power that we need, and this is pretty much the same. We want to make the same amount of power that the Fairlane makes, maybe a little bit more, we'll see.
And your Raceworks injector rail bolts straight on.
Yeah, so we managed to keep all that, and we're just really happy with it. We're running a fly-by-wire throttle body in this case. The Fairlane, we run a cable. We would love to have ran a fly-by-wire in the Fairlane, but our Haltech won't support it currently. This one we're running a different Haltech, so we can support it in this case. So running fly-by-wire is just the way to go. It's going to make life a whole lot easier than using idle air controls and stuff like that. So I'm excited to try that. This is out of a FG, I think it is. FG throttle body, so that's pretty cool as well too. Exhaust manifold. Exhaust manifold is completely custom. Big shout out and thanks to Chapman Brothers Performance. They laser cut a flange for us and provided that for us, and then Les went ahead and he made this tunnel manifold here. It still needs to be finished off. You can see some of the welds are still pretty gouged out and stuff like that. He's going to finish it off further down the track to pretty it up a little bit. We're just going to leave it for now because obviously we're still in the process of making things fit. So if anything has to change, we don't want to spend all that time making it fit and then it doesn't fit and we got to cut it all up. But it's just a log manifold. From what I understand and like from watching the Skid Factory all these years, like everyone says when it comes to turbos, log manifolds work fine. For this application, it'll work fine as well too. We don't need a banana manifold like we have in the Fairlane in this case. We tried that banana manifold, the same one from Chapman Brothers, and we would have loved to have used it as well too, just because we had a lot of success in the past with it, but it was way too close to the booster and set the turbo up in the wrong spot. So we're not going to be able to use it, so we're going with a log manifold. A lot of people have opinions about log manifolds, about whether they're not the most efficient or anything like that. For what we're doing, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I've watched the Skid Factory fit that 1UZ in that Fairlane.
Yeah.
And ran the tightest manifolds ever.
Yeah.
Log manifolds.
And they still
no
make
issues.
bulk power, yeah. So we're going to try it as well too. Like we always say, we like to try different things, test theories for ourselves and find them out for ourselves. So that's really cool. Happy to have that on. The turbo as well. We now have our turbo, so it is
It's the same size as the Fairlane, but a touch bigger, I think.
Yeah, do you know what it is?
3582.
The 3582.
Or 3584, I'm not sure.
And it is a Pulsar turbo? Yes?
Yeah.
It is a Pulsar turbo. Pretty much like comes out of the same factory apparently. We get these through our tuner. He was toying with them for a while to see what he thought of them, and like we've ran that on the Fairlane, and we all know how the Fairlane's gone all these years later, and it's still running fine. So that's awesome. The other thing you're going to notice as well too is there's a great big AC condenser now in the front of this because we are going to run AC. I can't even say that seriously. It's a Camaraderie car, of course it's not got AC. We have an intercooler in this case up front now as well too. So Tin Man has gone ahead and he's mounted it up for us. He's done all the hard work. Actually, you know what? He hasn't done the hard work. He mounted it. Now we have to do the hard work of trying to plumb it. So we're going to try and plumb that in through there. It's going to be tight, but we should be able to get it to work. But, you know, it's there. It looks good.
That is a Plasma Man 500 by 400, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
intercooler,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It's sort of stealthy. You could paint it black and you would never even know it's there, to be honest.
Yeah.
So he's managed to keep the original grille and everything, so that's awesome. And lastly, probably the firewall. We'll talk about the firewall.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it for underneath the engine. We mentioned when we started this build too how good it is having Cortinas because you can lift the bonnets right up. We can't do that anymore now because of the cowl. So we might have to take the bonnet off as we go on with today perhaps. The firewall, you remember we cut massive big holes in here to get this engine to fit. That has all been closed up now. He has gone through and welded up and basically plugged up all the gaps and all the holes, so it's all finished. It all has plenty of room. More than 10 mil, I can fit my fingers in there and maybe even 2 across, and there's plenty of room now, so it should have no issues for engineering. And the heater box has been removed because the heater box would normally go here as well too. What was his plan with the heater box?
Just going to get like one of those electric fans, electric boxes that go under the dash or something.
Okay.
They're like for hot rods and that, just for demist.
Yeah, so the reason why we need to have that is because it's for engineering. Like we said, we want to get this car engineered, and having a heater is actually an engineering requirement for demister. So we're going to try one of these electric ones so that we don't have to worry about plumbing it through the engine. It also means that we get rid of that stupid heater rail that goes around the back of this thing as well too. So we're going to try to figure out a way to plug that now that I've just thought about that.
Easy.
So we'll figure that out. A bit of JB weld, just pack it on in there, should be right. And yeah, so now there's no more heater. So that's that. Do you want to run us through what's
I'll talk about the boot.
Yeah, let's do that.
And this is the exciting bit. This is the stuff I like seeing again, because we haven't seen stuff like this in a long time.
It's been a while since we've touched some cool shit.
Yeah.
So the boot, the spare wheel well has been cut out of this car, and it has been filled up. So he did the sheet metal in the boot. That is all gone now. He's put ridges in it to give it some strength. We also got a big fuel cell. This is the same size, I think it's the 76 or 79. Just flip that 6 and 9 upside down if I'm wrong. So we're going the biggest fuel cell, so the same size as the Fairlane. We've got surge tank. We've ordered pretty much a lot of the things. But the other big thing is...
And this is something that we didn't really know that was going to happen either. He just said one day, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to do this.
So Cortinas, they don't really fit a nice size tyre. So he's gone ahead and tubbed it to the rail. you can see there has been new tubs built in the back of the car. So it's been tubbed flat to the rail, and it should comfortably fit a 255 tyre. So we test fitted a 255 Zestino radial on this car, and it fits nice. The diff does have to be shortened down a bit, and we're probably going to have to get some custom steelies made, because unfortunately these cars, they don't like the offset that's on the Fairlane, or you can't buy a nice offset for these things. The front wheels stick out of the guards, and the rear wheels you need to do some major tubbing to fit them. So we're just going to run some custom steelies and shorten the diff at a later date and get that dished look with a 255. But for now, the 16-inch steelies should be good. So the boot is pretty much ready for us to go as well. So we can start pretty much getting into the fuel system, running fuel lines and stuff like that, because the boot in this car needs to be hardlined with stainless.
Stainless, is it?
So we're doing a lot of hardline in this car.
That's gonna be hard.
The fuel line the fuel system in this thing is going to be quite up there.
It's going to look slick, but using stainless, that's a whole nother...
It's a whole nother game using stainless. It's very hard to bend. It's very hard to compress the olive into the stainless line as well. So this fuel system will test us.
It'll be interesting. And look, it's going to look cool at the end of the day. We'll try and make it look as cool as possible. So I think we'll probably run the same sort of setup with fuel cell, surge tank.
Yep, we've got the battery tray as well. Fuel rail. I've ordered like a lot of the big ticket items, just so then we've got it, but we still need to sit down and write, okay, we need to get a coil of stainless line, and we need to get bulkhead fittings to go through the floor. We need to, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing that's also happened, is the car is now being tubbed. And that was the last job before it came back to us. We're just waiting to knock the HG on the head.
Yeah, just takes me back to the Fairlane all over again.
I know, yeah.
You don't realise how big these cells are until you've got it out of the car, eh?
Yeah.
Like, you look at that, that's a lot of fuel.
Obviously not enough to do more than a 300k drive though.
Not with the E85. So in relation to that question as well too, yes, we are still running E85 in this thing. We're going to run a flex tune as we do with the Fairlane as well too.
Yep. Alright. That's our cell.
Fuel cell mounted. Done. So this is a big surge tank as well too. It is a 2 litre version, I think this is, or is it 2.4 or something like that? Does it say on the top?
2.8 litre.
2.8 litre, which is massive. But you can run 2 pumps in it.
So...
Well, yeah, which side of the car are we running fuel?
Well, I think we were going to run it all like that, and then the battery tray was going to go here. So I think we're going to run it like that.
So as far as our hanger goes, Raceworks have recently changed their fuel cells so they can have a 3 hanger design, or 3 pump hanger now. This is only a 2 pump hanger. We don't need the 3. It's not going to work for our application, or it's overkill for our application to have 3 pumps, but we're going with 2. So now they provide an adapter, so this will go onto here, which we could probably bolt down today as well, to be honest. And then we get our dog bowl. That goes on there like that, and then our hanger goes in like that, and that's basically how it all works. So that's pretty sweet. For engineering purposes, we have to run the dog bowl. It has to be there. Okay, so first thing that we're going to start with, because like we said, we want to start figuring out everything is plumbed, we're going to put it on our Raceworks fuel rail. So we're going to put this on now, we're going to mount it up, see what it looks like. That way we can sort of figure out what fittings we need, where everything's going to run, because the only way to really do this is to actually see it on the car. It's one thing to visualize it, but to actually see it on the car is a whole nother thing. So it's been a long time since we've done this, Nath. Do you remember how it goes?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good to be working with billet parts again, and it just screams performance.
Performance. Makes sense if that.
And with that marks the start of the 2024 season. There we go. Our
first part bolted on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt in our adapter.
That can pretty much stay on now. That's not coming back out again.
Yeah, I guess this stuff we can just bolt down, and that way we can throw boxes away and not have bolts everywhere. So we might as well put all the bolts in so we don't lose anything. Obviously, what we're going to work on next on this car is we're going to be running fuel. So we're going to go right through it today. We're going to do a big order of the fittings and stuff we need, bulkheads, get everything that we need. So then that way, when we come in to do fuel days,
Yeah.
we can just get stuck straight into it. So let's really be thorough with this order and think of everything. All right, so that's that.
So doggy bowl.
Doggy ball, which Raceworks lines up, thank God.
And the hanger.
Lovely. Gotta put the battery tray together.
Yeah, I can do that. This is the billet bracket that Racework makes for Optima batteries. Super neat bit of kit. Makes life really easy.
Oh yeah, these are so good. That'll look cool. That looks good there.
Yeah, well look, that fits pretty much per, you know what, annoyingly, we're going to have to put a plate in
Yeah, I know.
because it's just that little bit too big, but
That's alright.
I think I'm happy with how everything's looking.
Yeah, I think that's the placement of everything.
That's going to go there. Like if we sit this sort of towards here, we can put our bulkheads
Yep, bulkhead through the floor there.
through the floor there.
Exactly like the Fairlane.
Let's have some lunch, then we'll come back and we'll start writing a list of what we need.
Sounds good. Right, so this is what I've got written so far, okay? I've got Dash 8 hardline stainless, a Dash 8 4 bulkhead,
24 metres worth.
Dash 8 200 series Teflon line. So that means we're going to need a shit ton of unions, Dash 8 to Dash 8 unions.
Come here, big boy.
Oh, hang on, we've got a bulkhead there. Well, we do have a lot of Dash 8 hardline stuff. Oh, that's
You know it's a good day when this gets rolled out to the car.
It's a little slightly stressful.
It is slightly stressful. So we've sat down, we've coming up with some form of a list. So we've got our Make Cortina Go Fast list here. We're going to figure out what we need this fitting wise for the back. Guarantee you we're going to forget stuff, but that's all part of it. We need to get our initial bulk order done first.
Yeah.
And then we come back and go, hey, we forgot this. Do you want to give us a brief rundown of what we're thinking?
Yep, so we're going to run the whole boot with Dash 8, and all of these are already like for a Dash 8 fitting, so it's a lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to run 45s out of here, because we want to try and stick to keeping the bends to minimum as possible with the stainless.
Well, yeah.
So we'll come out of here 3 45s. One of these lines is obviously going to be to our dry brake to empty the cell. So this line will probably be coming this way, and then it's going to go up and out of there. We also need to order 2 rollover valves to go into the corners. So then we can have like a ball valve, and then it's got a rollie, and then it's going to filter out and vent the tank as well.
Yeah, and we're going to do that through
Yep.
this bulkhead here.
Yep. So we're going to send them through the bulkhead, and then we're going to run 90s out of the surge tank, and then so obviously we've got a supply line, and then we've got, man, there's so many lines that come out of here.
Yeah.
And then we've got all our other lines. So we've got a list of 90s, we've got a list of 45, we've got a list of straights. We're going to get some 200 series Teflon line in Dash 8. So then we can add in Teflon points under the car, because we're going to need to run Teflon in the engine bay. It can't all be hardline.
Yeah.
We got clamps, we got unions, we got breathers, we got twin dry brakes that are going to run through there. We've already made up our mind on that.
Just because it's going to look cool. That's purely the reason why.
So we'll run that there. So we'll do that. So I think we've pretty much got our bulk order for the rear here. I reckon it's time to open up the laptop and jump on Tiperformance and make a cart, and then we'll work our way mentally under the car and work our way forward.
We've shown this before, but if you want to do a fuel system from scratch, a really good way to do it is using Tiperformance's fluid system builder, because you can put in stuff like, you can go through pretty much everything you need. You can get your unions, put that in place there, and it adds it to your list already. And then when you want to go to your Teflon ends like this,
You can pretty much build your fuel system in this grid.
yeah, it's a really good bit of kit for doing this sort of thing. See? And it's just building a list. And for anyone that hasn't really done a lot of fuel stuff, you can go through this. It just means you can map it all out really nice and neatly. And we're just gonna make our list now, find out what we need, and also look at all the parts to make sure that it's actually gonna fit and see what we're actually looking at, because we can visually go through and find it all out. Alright, so we've done our list. Our list is pretty much sorted. This is only for really fuel system at the minute and the big bulky items left. We've ordered things like coil brackets as well too, so we can figure out where they're going to go, because that's obviously a bulky item and we need to know where that's going to live.
That's a lot of the order though. That's a lot of what we need.
Yeah, then like we're just saying, like we still need a battery, we need all the engine sensors, we need lines for oil feed and everything for the turbo, but
that's little stuff.
there's a few things we want to try and look at, because there's a couple of different ways we can go about that this time around, which we can improve on from how we did the Fairlane. So we'll probably do that a little bit further on down the line once everything else gets into place and we figure it all out, because there's still plenty of other things we can work out for the meantime.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's have a look at the thing that's going to be running this car, and probably the main thing that we're really excited about, because talking about the engine, talking about the fuel, you know, we've done that a million times, but we're working with some cool stuff this one.
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Alright, so like Nathan said, we've talked about fuel, we've talked about the engine and what the plan is for that. We'll go further into detail on the engine a little bit later in the series as well too, or the episode. But one of the really exciting things that we're really excited to working with is we're going to be working with another Haltech. But specifically, we're not just working with any old Haltech, we're working with an R3. So for those that don't know what an R3 is, basically this is an all-in-one unit where we run power to these two terminals here, and everything for the car comes out of this thing right here. No more relays, no more fuses, everything is in here. It is fused, it is relayed. You can run fuel pumps off this thing, you can run fans off this thing, I think you can run indicators, all that sort of stuff. Everything comes out of this R3.
Yep.
So it's been a dream of mine to be able to play with one for a very long time now, because I just think they're really cool, and now we're getting to do it in someone else's budget, which to me ticks all the boxes. And on top of that, something else that we're very familiar with as well too, we're going to be running the IC7 dash as well too. Same dash that we run on the Fairlane. What can you say, they're an awesome bit of kit. Very excited to see that mounted. We're probably going to do a test fit today just so we can have a giggle about it and get excited.
Yeah, have a giggle. That's why we got this out as well. So, but how are we going to wire all this?
Well, that's what my backpack's for. So, apparently when you buy a wiring loom from Haltech, you get a cool little backpack as well too to carry around to all the shows that you go to. But, I'm so excited. O2 sensor in here is our wiring loom. Look at it. It's gorgeous. So this is our wiring loom that's going to plug straight into the R3, and from here this should run pretty much every single thing in the vehicle itself. I know right now I'm excited, and I know it's going to be a nightmare once I start it, and I'm going to hate it about 5 minutes into the job, but right now I can't tell you how excited I am to be working with something like this, because in the past, and this is sort of like the thesis of what we're going with this car, is the Fairlane is all a piggyback system. It's wiring that sort of looks a bit junky underneath because it was addition on addition on addition, and it just became a mess, and it's still piggybacking off the old ECU even though we're not using the old ECU anymore. It's messy. This is going to be a clean slate. We get to run everything directly from this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be easy to fault find and identify, and it's just going to look neat. So I'm very, very excited to be working with this. Big thanks to Haltech for helping us out on this as well too, but especially a big thank you to Tiperformance for helping us out with this Haltech. Tiperformance, if you don't know, have the full range of Haltech gear on their website now that you can buy. They have everything available and have it all on their website, so it's easy to figure out what you're looking for with all the descriptions of what everything does as well too. So if you're looking for Haltech gear, buy it through Tiperformance, tell them you came from us, say hello. It really does go a long way to supporting the channel, what we're doing here, but they also know what they're doing. So, that's pretty much all the goodies.
That is all the goodies.
So what do we do now?
So Nathan just can't help himself. First thing he's got to do is he wants to get a feel. Because look, when you're building a car, the important thing is you need to get a feel for what you're trying to achieve.
Doesn't really fit, eh? Alright, we're cutting into... Oh no, it'll fit once it's in there. I think I need to pull that out and make like a plate and stuff, but... I feel like the ultimate wog.
The ultimate wog.
I think I need bigger gold earrings. Like, you know, like some real ethnic music. I feel like the shifter should be a bit higher.
Oh, you can make a plate. Or make a bracket. We do like making our brackets.
I like it up there. This car will be getting a set of Raceworks bucket seats as well.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
You're not keeping the original seats?
I I feel like safety is key in this car.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah.
You know, so once you're harnessed in, you don't have the reach for the shifter.
This is what we're talking about with the tunnel as well too. So the tunnel, you can see, has been modified slightly and lifted so that it's basically just so to fit the ratchet shifter.
Yeah, it's made to bolt a ratchet shifter there.
Yeah.
But anyway, this feels wicked. I can't wait to, where are we going to mount this R3?
If I mount it up in there like that.
No, there's an actual glove box thingy that goes in there, I think.
Do we have to have the glove box? Who wants a glove box? No one likes a glove box. Where do you go? What do you do? Oh, that would have been for the
Heater.
That would have gone underneath, I'm guessing. You can still run the glove box. We'll just put that behind it, whatever. And that's where the R3 can go. And then we'll just have to bust through somewhere here, probably there.
Yeah.
Little wiring loom, which gives us plenty of room, which is good. We need to know where that's going to go before we can figure out where any of the wiring goes. This is the joy of doing cars when they're this early in the build. You got to figure out where you're going to start.
Yeah.
What's your starting point? You got to decide something's going to go. What are you going to put in first, and then you can start building around it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Until you figure that out, then it's all just hearsay and estimating and guessing, and it just doesn't really work. Because if we just went, yeah, I'm going to put that there, and then later on you'll go, oh wait, something else goes there. So. Anyway, well, that pretty much wraps up today's episode. Sorry that it hasn't been much of a
Building episode.
It's been more of a planning episode, but this is generally the first time we've seen this car in however many months, and the first time we've really got to lay out all the parts together and look at and plan it, what everything's going to look like. We've got our parts list now. We're going to basically revise that over the next coming weeks. We're going to talk to the engineer. We're also going to be talking to Raceworks and Tiperformance to make sure that they are the best parts that we can be using, the most current versions and stuff like that, and but best fit for purpose for what this car is going to be as well too. So those parts might still be a few weeks away. So in the meantime, what we're going to do is try and just basically get as much of the parts that we have currently mounted, like we said, get those big ticket items mounted, like the fuel cell, surge tank. See if we can mount the R3 as well too, so we know where that's going to go, because then we can potentially start running wires.
Mount the dash.
Mount the dash.
Do the cooler piping.
Finish
the brakes.
Yes, finish. Actually, there's quite a lot when you start.
I was literally looking at that cardboard and I'm like, might make a list.
Yeah. So there's plenty of things that we can work on in the meantime while we wait for that to come in. So we're going to do that. We'll also try and finish off a few other projects as well too in the meantime. Potentially the go-kart, no promises there, but we're going to try. Our longest running project to date. And even the Gemini needs to be revisited as well too, because once we get stuck in this, it's going to be pretty hands-on in this thing, and it's going to be pretty heavy Cortina, because there's going to be so much to be done with this. Yes. So, if you'd like to support the channel, head on over to the website where you can buy a bunch of Hackshop merch. You can also sign up to be a Hackshop Garage member, which is just a really good way of supporting the channel. It'll give you stuff like Hackshop Garage discounts in the merch store. You can also become a club member where you can get Club Rego through us. You can come to our club days at the factory as well too, where it's just club members only, just small, more intimate meets, I guess.
Yep.
And you can also win a bunch of stuff like King Chrome tools and Katana power tools on the monthly. We give away tools like that to our members once every month. So, until we see you in the next episode, whether it's mounting all this stuff or something else, hope you get excited, and we'll see you then.
Yeah. I keep staring at that piece of cardboard. I just want to write a list on it.
Go your hardest. You write that list.
Woo!
Nate's going to write a list, and we'll see you next episode. Yeah, pretty
This
much.
car needs to be a lot more thought out, a lot more coffee.
Reminiscing an old time.
Yeah, you know.
No, it was more like you drive into a corner. Wait, let me reverse. So we have our Raceworks flute tuned to a D minor, I think it is. Here's another thing too about these Raceworks catch cans. They do say not for road use, see right here, but you can make this for road use simply by... Done. For road use. Raceworks legal team right now like, whoa, no. You can't do that. Alright, so we're going to go through our list now. So we've got the laptop out. So we'll get into it. And,
Oh my god. Yeah, I love a hard solo. You know what I love about having this car back?
What's that?
Is it's the first car we've had in the shop that has a complete interior.
I know, right?
And we don't have to look at the fact that it's an incomplete car
Yeah.
or a rolling shell.
Yeah.
This
And we
is
actually have a seat
complete
that we can
car.
sit in to push it around.
Yeah, and this is actually a complete car.
I know.
And we don't have to worry about restoring.
Yes.
We
I
just
know.
worry about making fast. I tell you
Yes.
what though, if we did have to cage this, it's tight. Like
It is.
my head's there on the pillar. Ah,
It's very tight in there.
yeah.
It's just, well, it's a tiny car. This is no bigger than the Gemini. When you think about it.
Oh, mate, this thing's gonna be sick.
It's
honestly.
gonna be quick. You know what also scares me?
What?
This wheel and this wheel,
Yeah.
they're not very far apart.
Oh yeah, I know. It's a
Like I can do it in, hang on.
rotating.
I can do it in 1, 2.
Yeah.
2 big steps and I'm there.
Imagine power skidding this though.
I'd be scared shitless. It would just loop. It's just want to loop itself, wouldn't it?
It's gonna be so fun, this car. That's a big bonnet. You can't see shit.
I know.
Have you sat in it with the bonnet? I
No,
actually
I
haven't
haven't.
sat in it. You can't see anything.